This is the Heel to the Face podcast. I'm Jared.
I'm Brandon.
And a great week of professional wrestling, but unfortunately, there might be a dark cloud looming over all the fun. We'll talk about that. Fight for the Fallen AEW. Raw back in front of people for another week in a row. Every single week is a gift, if you say so. And more as the Heel to Face podcast starts right now.
Fans celebrate with me from Rome to Rochester.
Bad election would be my middle name. They might as well tag me up with my buddies from Syracuse.
This is another edition of the Heel to the Face podcast. Make sure you are following us at Heel to the Face on Twitter. Make sure you're following Brandon at Icebreaker21 and myself at K-Rock. Jared, a lot to talk about in the world of professional wrestling this week. A great week of professional wrestling this week.
Yeah, pretty solid. I was really happy. Fight for the Fallen was this literally the night yesterday, so that was fun. A lot of great stuff. Hoovie's going to be back in town.
Hoove and Two Guerrero's coming back. I mean, I don't know how that match is going to top when it comes to the audacity of what we obviously just saw this past week with Chris Jericho and Nick Cage. And I will say this much, opinion, I'm okay with never seeing a death match again. I know we've said this before.
Yeah.
I love hardcore matches. I love what Mick Foley used to do. I love that kind of stuff. But the whole light, and more importantly, the pizza cutters. I don't like the pizza cutters.
I'm not going to lie. I'm with you. I don't mind it being like a once in a great, when I say great, like once maybe a year kind of thing, like one match a year. But you can't make a living doing that in the business. Like, I mean, Nick Cage has, but it's not viable. And I mean, Chris Jericho legitimately looked beat up.
It reminds me of like horror movies, and there's like the kinds of horror movies that go for scaring you, and then there's kind of horror movies that go for grossing you out.
That was more grossing out.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. Yeah. I'm a fan of the horror movies that try to scare you. And while Freddy Krueger and stuff they all have violence.
Yeah,
it's not to the hostile Saw extent.
No, it's yeah.
So with wrestling like this is to that extent in the world of wrestling where yes, I like hardcore matches. I'm not looking for a technical masterpiece here. But
well, we knew that was not going to happen.
But I mean, I'm a little more fan of chair shots and going through the tables and that kind of stuff than I am, just stabbing each other with glass.
Yeah, I mean, it's not like Nick Cage is known for having like quite a repertoire of moves. Mm-hmm. But I mean, for the moves that he had, they looked all right. I thought that part of it was good. I will say though, the one spot I really did enjoy was him going through the glass pane right there. That was cool.
No, actually, I'll say cool. That one was actually kind of cool. I did like that. That one's like one I could watch again and get on replay. That one's a little more unique.
Yeah, the pizza cutter thing, no.
Yeah, the pizza cutter thing to me, it's just you're getting stabbed.
Yeah, well, that looked like he had like an ice pick too or something.
Yeah, and the pizza cutter thing, and no, here's the thing. I just like even the thought of seeing someone get a paper cut just kind of grosses me out.
Yeah. So
the whole just getting sliced, like that doesn't do it for me.
I did like that glass pane or glass sheet, I guess. That was one of the spots. That was cool. I gotta tell you though, I mean, Chris Jericho, he really sold it well too. Like he took an ass whooping like that. Like Chris Jericho could have taken a few spots and then it could have been all pretty much Nick Cage taking all the bad spots. But no, Jericho took a lot of shots. I mean those what are those light bulbs or whatever the hell they're called?
Mm-hmm.
Like
the light tubes.
Light tubes. Like I wasn't expecting him to go through all that, and like he took some shots. I was surprised. I figured he'll take a couple, maybe the glass pane thing, maybe. But I didn't think he was going to do everything that he did. That was intense.
No, it was very intense. I'm actually quite surprised. It's kind of funny because Chris Jericho, remember, was the narrator on Dark Side of the Ring and the narrator on his Dark Side of the Ring. So to think like a few months later, he's going to get in the ring with the guy he's like pretty much in the narration, like no one should ever get in the ring with this guy.
Yeah, it was.
I'm going to get in the ring with him.
Well, you know what? I mean, good on Nick Cage to get some TV time. I mean, why not cash in, make some more merchandise sales? Yeah. I mean,
he's no longer the GCW champion after he lost a brutal death match this past Saturday night in Atlantic City. To Matt Cardona, who I don't know if you saw the pictures of Matt Cardona.
Yeah, that didn't look good either.
Yeah, no, pretty brutal as well. I don't know if you saw any of the after the match shots.
Yeah,
but people, I guess in this GCW, they go for this death match stuff. And one thing I guess they like about it is that they can be a part of the show, and they kind of try to be extra rowdy and extra rambunctious. We're throwing things in the ring and just showering. I want to call him Zack Ryder, but Matt Cardona.
I'm not I almost went Zach Cardona for a second. I almost kind of mixed it up.
But showered him with like beer cans and glass and other nonsense. He just like threw at him, which sometimes can be kind of unique, but, I guess in this extent, it's just like, are you just trying to do it because you know that the match was like a death match, so you're just trying to be part of the show?
That's really what it is. That's that's what it is. And I did see some folks on Twitter, like Meltzer was like ripping it, like he was not happy about it. I mean, the biggest thing is like, as long as you're not like throwing batteries and things like that in where you can actually hurt somebody, I'm okay with
like a beer can.
Beer cans. I mean, if it was
You're
like
right.
a glass bottle or something that that can hurt somebody, like a beer can or if it was like a Solo cup or something like that. I'm not too worried about that. But if it was like a battery or something,
I guess my thing is that you're coming off this death match here where these guys have like all these open wounds.
I mean, that's that. Yeah, I get what you're saying from like a infection perspective, which that would not be good, especially if you get like somebody's like, I don't know, like I listened to
like beer and all these open wounds probably doesn't.
Well,
make it feel better.
The grossest thing I've ever heard someone get like hit with, like when items were thrown, was I was listening to Eric Bischoff's podcast recently, and he said he got a cup thrown at him. It was somebody's tobacco chew spit. That's disgusting.
I imagine that. Yeah, I mean, you're down in the South, so I imagine that's a possibility for sure.
That literally is like that's the grossest thing. I'd rather get hit with like a beer, I don't want somebody's tobacco spit all over me. Like I guess like Bischoff told the whole story about it on his podcast recently, and it was just like the way he told it. I was like, I'd want to wash up like 7 times after that. It's so gross.
As somebody who just for fun has chewed tobacco here and there. I go to enough ball games. I picked it up. I don't do it regularly. I probably haven't done it in 8 years, and I didn't do it regularly then either. But I will say what grosses me out, at least if you're going to spit in a cup. And the reason I say that is because a cup is like wide open.
Yeah.
The people who carry around the bottles and have to like put it right up to their mouth.
That's gross.
And then like it drools down their chin.
Yeah, it's gross.
Going in. That always
get a cup with a big lid or something like where you can just like it's not hard to make. Like you can make it. It's not hard.
Because because you have the bottles, you have to like put it up pretty much back in your mouth.
I see a lot of people doing that. I mean, I don't mind if it's like sunflower seeds. I mean, that's different, but
it's a little bit different than chewing tobacco.
Oh, I didn't know you chewed. Wow.
Well, it was I know. I went to a ball game occasional time. Somebody brought it. I'd say this would be fun for a minute or two. It's kind of like that thing.
See, I never got into that or the.
I never got into it. Like I never was like.
I never tried it. I don't know. I never tried it. I honestly I never did the sunflower seeds either. I just chewed gum.
Yeah, I like sunflower seeds. Those are good. I will say this much. I did learn this much. I worked at a gas station, and I was 18 years old when I worked at a gas station, and I wanted to just try things. I have no idea. Especially with chewing tobacco, you have no idea what to expect. No. There's no.
Don't swallow it. That's all.
You just don't know if it's going to taste like. I mean, personally, I thought it was going to be like beef jerky. I don't know. You know what I mean? What do you know?
You don't know. Yeah.
And I will say the stuff that comes in a can, because I would get the stuff that comes in a can, like
10, yeah.
I would get that kind of stuff, and I would just try it out because it'd be like, stuff we have at the gas station that we're throwing away or something.
Yeah.
And I would try it out, and there'd be apple flavor and peach flavor and all this other stuff. It is harsh. It is not like something. I don't know how people get into it because there must be such a phase because it is something. And what I mean by harsh, I mean my head. You could when your heart beats so fast, you can feel your heart coming through your chest. I could feel my head pounding.
Yeah, that's
within seconds of it doing it. I could feel that. So don't try that stuff. I would say.
Yeah, I mean, I know. An old story. I'll keep his name out of the podcast.
But the stuff that I tried, I didn't. That was awful, and I was like, I can't do any of this stuff. But then about a year or two later, my friend had the old bags, like Redmen, where it's but that was better because it's like the full leaves versus the granulated stuff. So it's like a full leaf. So it's more like if you've ever had dried apricots.
Dude, I'll tell you this. One of my buddies, so I won't mention his name, but he everybody was trying to do it, and it was like I was next in line or one of the next people, people were trying to, and he swallowed it and he vomited. He was sick.
Oh yeah, you would immediately.
Yeah, he was vomiting, and I was like, "Yep, I'm just not."
But I would say if you ever were going to try it, try the stuff that comes in the bags, like the Red Man or like the old timey stuff.
Yeah, what the ball players used to do back.
Because it comes in like big leaf form. So you can put like a whole leaf in and take the whole leaf out. The other stuff is tough because it's so granulated that even when you take it out, it's like if you put dirt in your mouth.
Well, Big Red.
You can't just take the dirt out. It's like you're going to have the like.
Big Red was, or was it Big Red, Big Chief, whatever it is. Like they were like that was the chewing tobacco of what the players did back in the day.
Yeah,
that was like it. That was like what they used instead of sunflower seeds.
Yeah,
they'd put a little piece in their mouth.
But
that was it.
That's less harsh. That's like, and again, it's big pieces that you can take in and out. The other stuff is like so granulated that if you put in your mouth, like you have to rinse your mouth out because I mean it'd be like throwing in dirt. Yeah. You can spit out dirt, but you're still gonna have the dirt all over your mouth. Anywhere that your mouth was wet is gonna still have dirt in it, sticking to it. It'd be like you put hair in your mouth, like little granulated pieces of hair.
Yeah, no thanks.
It's gonna take a minute to get it all out.
Oof.
So I would say try that, which is weird. When I was in Nashville, which is something you wouldn't see in America, I didn't think I'd see in America today, but kind of cool actually. They actually had a Copenhagen like museum, and they showed you how they made it, and then they gave you free Copenhagen. I just tried like a little bit just because I was there and I was like, it was free. And I was like, I mean, I tried the littlest bit, but and they're like, come on back. Your hand stamped. You can come get another. And like people were like, they said people like celebrities who live in the area who chew come in for the free tin because it's free. Just come in and like, because it doesn't cost any money to visit the museum.
Just walk in and.
Yeah. You go on like a little tour and then at the end they give you a free tin. So he said people like, I think they said Kid Rock's bassist or something comes in here all the time and gets a tin like a day.
Well,
for free. It's free.
I mean, why? If you can get it for free, why wouldn't you?
Yeah, when it's like $10 normally, you know what I mean?
It's not.
I thought that was very strange in the society we live in today. That where we obviously know that cigarettes and tobacco and all this stuff doesn't ever really get advertised. To have like a place that's open to the public that like glamorizes it.
I thought I read too. Philip Morris, I think it is. What's one of the big tobacco companies? I'm not a tobacco guy, but like one of the big companies is going to be banned in the UK in like the next decade.
Yeah, so to go to a place like this where it's kind of like glamorized, where they show like the history and they show how they make it, like they made it out like you were going to a winery, like it was like very prestigious.
Well, back in the day, it was like you you see the old advertising, it was like smoking a cigarette was cool, or chewing tobacco was cool.
Yeah,
not knowing that it causes cancer and all that.
Yes, a lot of players I still think chew the stuff in the cans. You can see, as much as they ban it, as much as they say it's banned at minor leagues and major leagues and
guys
college,
are still doing it.
I mean, I've done play-by-play for like 18-year-old, 19-year-old college level, and they're doing it there. So obviously,
well, a lot of the kids are doing that Zen or whatever it's called now. I'm not familiar with it, but it's like it's Zen. Somebody else can tell you about it. I'm not, Google it, so to speak. I guess I just heard the word Zen. It's like another form of it, but I guess it gives you like a different kind of buzz or whatever. I don't know.
So in AEW this week, the big thing that everyone's leaving talking about is the announcement of an event on August the 20th, the night before SummerSlam. The second Rampage, the first one's going to be the week earlier in Pittsburgh, and then the second one, which is going to be a standalone event, because the first week they're going back-to-back, Dynamite's in Pittsburgh and then Rampage, and then in Chicago they're doing Rampage all by itself.
Oh, wait a second. You said Chicago, right?
Yes.
Oh, Chicago.
And Darby Allin then followed that announcement that they're going to be at the United Center by saying that he will face and he'll beat up anybody who claims to be the best in the world. Huh. So all I can think of
who says
is
that?
Shane McMahon.
Yeah, I mean, Shane McMahon's the first name that comes to mind. I mean,
World
everybody
Cup
else
champion.
I'm just saying, I mean, CM Punk. I mean, I mean, you got CM Punk rumors. You got Daniel Bryan rumors.
I mean, I imagine, in all honesty, that this really means that CM Punk has got to be there, and for a few reasons.
100%.
Because to tease this to this extent, you're teasing it to sell tickets. So if you sell tickets, and the United Center is the biggest venue outside of a football stadium or baseball stadium in Chicago. It's bigger than where All Out. If you claim the arenas, there's like 4 arenas in Chicago.
Yeah, Allstate.
There's the Allstate Arena.
Yep.
There's the Wintrust Arena where DePaul plays, which is like a brand new arena. There's United Center.
Yep.
And then there's what used to be called the Sears Center, which is now called the Now Arena. So the smallest of those, I think, is either the Now Arena or the Wintrust Center. The Now Arena was where All Out was, All In was. That's, I guess, AEW's go-to home.
United's got to be what, 20, 25,000?
The ones I just mentioned are like under 10. And then the Allstate is like 15. And even WWE, because of a good deal they got going and other reasons, they don't run the United Center, but that is, yes, 20 plus.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think that's the biggest arena in the NBA.
Yes, I'm
pretty sure.
Pretty sure it is as well. And so they're going to go from running arenas that are smaller than WWE to running, because it kind of reminds you of Impact back in the day. You know, like WWE go to like New York City, and WWE go to the Garden, and Impact would go to like I don't know, home of like some minor league hockey team there.
Let's go to Newark.
Yeah, something
like that.
Something around that lines. But this time, AEW, in which AEW's been following suit. When they go to Charlotte this past week, they're at the Bojangles Coliseum. They weren't at the Spectrum Center in downtown Charlotte. Yeah. When they've gone to other places, they normally run the smaller arenas. Chicago obviously is a good example. Their pay-per-views at the Now Arena, which is in Homestead, Illinois, about 20 miles out of Chicago. So they're normally running smaller buildings, but in this case, they're going to run a bigger building than WWE normally runs there.
So let's just say, I mean, I think CM Punk's going to be there. Like if you're pretty much laying it on, like, yeah, best in the world, we know where the innuendos are going. Mm-hmm. Like AEW, this means they have CM Punk signed then, because if he's not there, there's going to be 20,000 angry people there. Yeah, and you know what? And then it's gonna be a bad look for Tony Khan and company, because then you almost advertise CM Punk being there, nonchalant, quote unquote, and then he's not there. Like at this point, he's definitely going. There's no doubt in my mind you're gonna see a CM Punk. Who knows when that night or what situation, but he's going to be there that night in some way, shape, or form. No questions asked. I'm very curious with this whole show Rampage, because with WWE, Raw was on the air for a good 6 years. It felt longer than that, but a good 6 years before they dabbled into adding SmackDown. But AEW's obviously only been on the air for a little over a year and a half now, and before they are adding a second show. So I'm very curious, how this is going to work, because we've been talking about how AEW Dynamite has been in competition with NXT, not with WWE, but with NXT of WWE. So to add a second show it's like if NXT added a second show. Yeah, it's, to me, I think so. And again, you got to think even from WWE's perspective, we're on SmackDown. They try to keep the guys separate. So even though they have 3 shows in WWE, it's different rosters for each. So right now, I think AEW is doing it fine. They have the Dark Show, which is your YouTube. Yeah, your show of all the guys who don't get utilized, and your version of WWE Saturday Morning Superstars, stuff like that. Well, here's the thing too. But Rampage, is that going to be up there with Dynamite? It's got to be, I would think. I mean, how they're doing it now, I like you said, they have the YouTube show Dark, and then they have, I feel like what is the other thing they do? They have Dark Elevation. Dark Elevation, thank you. Like, they have all these different programs where they have to use and give these young kids, and I say kids because they're like 21-year-old kids, that in the beginning, they were being featured on Dynamite, and now that you're bringing in all these established stars, whether it's from New Japan, Ring of Honor, you name it, WWE, of course, you got to find a place for these guys to develop, because let's just be honest, Christian Cage's shelf life is not that long. Let's be honest. Like, he's up there in age. Sting, we know Sting's shelf life is what it is. So I like what they do, because you have those young, unestablished, I call them green because they're new into the business, green superstars doing stuff on YouTube where they can learn the business, learn how to do things. And then, eventually, if they're ready, you put them on Dynamite, maybe in a match where they, maybe they're a jobber, or, we had this new talent that's been crushing it on Dark. All right, we're going to have him face, Hangman Page or something. And then he might lose to Hangman Page, and then it's in a good fashion where he still gets over. It's, to me, I like it that way, where the problem is if you're going to add more shows, there's potential where it could really backfire. I think they're going too quick with it. That's just me. There's too much product out there. At this point, I don't like right now. I think one main show on TV is good. With Dynamite feels a lot like Monday Night Raw felt back in the 90s when it was the only show. Yeah. And then when you add a second show, then because now when they have these feuds on Dynamite, they can say next week on Dynamite, and then you got like a week preparation. It feels not like a pay-per-view, but in AEW sense, kind of like a pay-per-view is the way they've been doing the Fight for the Fallen, Fyter Fest. They kind of treat these Dynamites like their little pay-per-views. But now we're going to start having matches where they go right from Wednesday to Friday, Friday to Wednesday. Yeah, it's too quick. It's too quick. Like you mentioned, WWE took some time. That took many years to do, the 2-show format. I think they're rushing it. I hope it works. Inevitably, I hope it works. But at the same time, I think they're pushing it too quick. I think that after these initial big shows,
that Rampage, from what I at least see on their schedule, is going to move to the format where they film Dynamite and Rampage kind of in the same night. And
I don't like that though.
But I mean, again, but realistically though, I mean, how they got to? I mean, I don't.
You don't
they
have to.
Well, because I guess the issue is not just also having too much product, but also too many live events. Meaning, that's an undertaking.
But here's the thing, though, and I believe I might be wrong on this, and you can fact check me on this. I believe WCW years ago. This is back in the 90s. They did live nitros. And Raw, because remember Raw, they would spoil the results on Nitro, so it forced WWE to do live programming, which.
Well, no, and I get the benefit of being live. Obviously, this past week we're not talking about NXT much this week because we kind of already knew what happened last week. We already talked about it.
Really, yeah. So we really don't need to talk.
So I get, especially now in today's day and age. I mean, 2 days is not horrible if you film it on Wednesday and it airs on Friday.
It's still bad though because it's going to leak.
But I guess the issue I'm just having is. So more than just too much television product, but are you now expecting to draw 6,000 on Wednesday and 6,000 on Friday? And then if it's a pay-per-view weekend, 6,000 again or more on Saturday?
Why not? I mean, they have they're taking a lot of WWE talent. I mean, they're taking established stars. Like if everything comes true and you have guys like CM Punk and Bryan Danielson coming through the door, and plus you've already acquired some other talent. And you have these partnerships with New Japan, for example. You have plenty of talent to do it, but it's tricky.
One issue you just brought up, we talk about Bryan Danielson and bringing him over. One of the big things he probably wants to come over, and a lot of these guys want to come over for AEW, is a lighter schedule. So if all of a sudden you start to run up their schedule WWE style,
but here's the thing: here's the thing: you don't have to do 300 nights a week like WWE does. You can work 2 nights a week, do your TV stuff, and then maybe a third night a week, once a month, or whenever pay-per-views air, and that's it. You still got a light schedule.
I still think a lot of these early rampages in Pittsburgh, Chicago, and then strangely, running the United Center for that rampage also shows just how they're going to have to make a big impact. One, because it's not the first rampage, so it can't be the first one.
No,
it's a second rampage, so the luster of it being the first show wore off. And second off, only about 2 weeks later, they're running 3 Chicago shows in a row for All Out Weekend. They're running Dynamite, Rampage, and the pay-per-view in pretty much back-to-back nights from the Now Arena, which is a smaller arena. So it's weird that they are running this one weekly television show. That'd be like if WrestleMania was running 3 nights at the Allstate Center, which is a 15,000-seat arena. But a week or 2 weeks earlier, they were running a SmackDown at a 30,000-seat arena. Which is like, whoa, hold on a minute. Like, if you're running those 3 events at the United Center for your big weekend, and I get that. That's a WrestleMania weekend for a lot of people. You pick the United Center for that. But you're only picking the small arena for those. So you're picking not for a Dynamite / pay-per-view, just a regular Rampage, which is your Friday night, which is essentially your new SmackDown.
Sure.
Rampage is now SmackDown. And it's not the first SmackDown, it's the second SmackDown.
But here's the thing.
You're running your biggest arena you've ever run for.
But their ticket sales the ticket sales are fine. Like they're outselling tickets in bigger markets like New York City, which is WWE's home. WWE established, they are established brand in New York City, and WWE is having more trouble selling tickets in New York City than AEW. AEW sells their tickets way faster than WWE has lately.
Granted, they're running smaller buildings.
Sure, but here's the thing: the demand is perfect, and that's why you have these small shows or small venues, because fans can be like, oh, crap, I can't get to that show, but oh, wait, they're going to be here, this night or this night. So it gives more fans an opportunity. And Chicago's a big freaking city. Yes. It's not like it's Syracuse, New York, where you're running 6 shows in a short time. It's literally one of the biggest cities in the country. So, and it's a pretty big wrestling base in Chicago, as we know. So I'm not worried about it because it's not like they're doing 30,000. They're doing, one really big show, and then they got the small arenas. They're selling.
Well, that's the thing. You're calling it one really big show, when that show is actually supposed to be like the least important of these. It's just strange to me that they're running, the one night only Rampage in the United Center, and then when they actually have the big pay-per-view, they're
doing the big one because of CM Punk. That's what it is. I mean, at this point, it's CM Punk.
Yeah, now, so that's why it definitely has to be CM Punk.
Yeah, it's got to be. And here's the thing too, and the rumors are Bryan Danielson. I always want to say Daniel Bryan, but I know it's Bryan Danielson. Way. It's the same, but he you can't debut him, like assuming he signs, which all signs are pointing that he's also under contract, because he really wants to do. He wants to wrestle some New Japan guys. Is really why he's doing AEW with the partnership with New Japan. But you can't debut CM Punk and then a week later debut Bryan Danielson. You can't do that. You have to, in my opinion, you have to stagger it out. Like CM Punk debuts, you let it run for a month or two, run it for a pay-per-view or two, and then you bring in Danielson. You cannot do it back to back because it's gonna hurt. I feel like it's gonna hurt overall. It's gonna hurt them both. Because
I've been hearing rumors of Bryan Danielson debuting at that Dynamite Grand Slam at Arthur Ashe Stadium in New York City.
I did hear that too.
About a month later,
which is fine. If it's like a month, I'm good. But like anything before a month, I don't think it's a good idea.
See, and I wasn't aware until actually I was just in Queens and walked past the stadium this week. But that stadium now has a roof on it. Apparently, the last time I've been in that area, it did not have a roof on it, and I thought it was an open air stadium because for many years it was. But in 2016, they installed a roof on that stadium. So Dynamite, because I remember we had this conversation. I told you that they had some WNBA games there. That Arthur Ashe Stadium, where the tennis stadium in New York City.
It wouldn't rain or anything.
Yes, because it was a stadium, but it's an arena. It's an arena without a roof. If you ever see what Arthur Ashe Stadium to me looks like is when you go by those porcelain arenas that you can like put on your desk at work or whatever, and the top comes off so you can see all the artwork they've done inside. Yeah, that's what it looks like. Take the top off, and it's an arena. It's an arena without a roof.
Do you know if it's a retractable roof?
It is a retractable roof because it still is for tennis, and they want it to be outdoors, but at the same time, they didn't want to lose matches for the U.S. Open.
Because of weather. And stuff.
Yes.
Got it. Okay.
So it is a retractable roof, so Dynamite doesn't even have to worry about weather. And if you're a fan there, you don't have to even worry about weather.
I hope for the sake of the fans, I hope they keep it open. I hope the weather's nice enough where they can do it outside.
Yeah, I mean, it is going to be late September, so it should be all right.
Should be comfortable.
But
maybe.
But going to the lead that I let us off with in the teaser about the dark cloud, and I'm not talking a rain cloud that could go over.
Wait, like the dark cloud we've been getting in July, this whole month, rain pretty much every day?
Well, worse than that.
Wow.
The dark cloud that is looming over AEW, that is looming over WWE specifically, and all of professional wrestling, because we've been having a good couple weeks here. It's been a good time that we've had. And what I'm about to say, AEW is aware of, and they are very concerned. And WWE is aware of, and they are also very concerned. And I am talking about the resurgence of COVID-19. And now in Las Vegas, it is announced that starting tomorrow on July 31st, that all indoor venues, casinos, everywhere, you will be mandated to wear a mask.
Vaccination or not, right?
Vaccination or not, you'll be mandated to wear a mask anywhere indoors in Clark County, which is Las Vegas, which apparently anywhere in Nevada, the only counties that aren't, if you know anything about the West, there are places where there aren't people that live. So it's like, they don't have a lot of rates out in this county, so they don't have to wear a mask. Well, I don't even know if they have an indoor building there. There's counties, there are counties in New Mexico that I've been through New Mexico that if they're like, you got to wear a mask indoors, I'd say, where's indoors? Like, there's nothing indoors in this whole county. Yeah. It's just people's residences would be it. There's no counties that don't have Walmarts and hospitals and gas stations and all this other stuff. Yeah. Those don't count. So any county in which people live in Nevada, you got to wear a mask. And so obviously with SummerSlam approaching, that makes WWE wonder. We've gone down here before. Now we're going a little bit slower this time around because we're a little bit smarter, but it was about 20 days out from WrestleMania. Everything was okay. I went to a concert in Canada and the border was wide open. And, they were joking about COVID at the concert. It was like one of those things that I kind of heard through passing, didn't know much about it. This disease is going around, whatever, The nightly news has to have news every single night. So technically they have to talk about something every single night. So I heard about COVID-19 because, you got to talk about it because news is news, even if it's happening in Japan. Yep. But then it was like 2 days later where it became real here, and immediately things changed. And we learned with COVID-19 originally how quick things can change. So it's not just like, that won't happen. Because as we learned, 20 days out from WrestleMania, they were pumping you to buy a ticket for the last few that are left. And then 20 days later, WrestleMania was in the Performance Center.
Yeah, which sucks.
So,
here's the thing. If they, with these indoor venues, whatever, if the sacrifice for people at this point is to wear a mask, just wear the freaking mask. You know what I mean? Like,
no, then that's the thing. If you wear a mask, then that to me, finding out about this news, yes, it sucked because I'm going to be in Las Vegas in about 12 days from now.
Yep.
And I'm going to have to wear a mask pretty much everywhere I go because it's really hot outside. So you do spend 90% of your time indoors in Las Vegas. It is nice out and you're like, it's summertime. You spend a lot of time outside. It's 110 every day.
Yeah.
And the part of the appeal of going to, it's like going to Orlando, the appeal is going to Disney World. Disney World in Las Vegas is casinos. So the casinos are all indoors. There's really not much outdoors. Everything is indoors.
So here's the thing, though, isn't it? So Allegiant Stadium, like you would know this better than me, I think.
It is considered an indoor stadium because it has a retractable roof.
Because
it has a fixed roof but retractable sides.
If it's retractable sides, then they should be. I mean, I don't know, it's a slippery.
It's considered an indoor. So SummerSlam. If you're traveling to Las Vegas, you're going to probably be wearing a mask. So I thought at WrestleMania when I was wearing a mask that, that was going to be it and going to SummerSlam, mask. But it doesn't seem like that's going to be possible as tomorrow the mask mandate starts.
Lovely.
And right now, luckily, it's places like Nevada and California that are really big hotbeds. They have the heat maps out there and show that they're like the worst of the worst. While places like New York are actually not. New York, Massachusetts, all the northern states are in what they call the yellow, which is like you don't need a mask or anything like that, or even recommend wearing a mask.
Just stay tuned. Wait, blank. It'll probably change tomorrow. That's just how.
And that's the worry that I have is that we learned with COVID originally that blink and something can happen tomorrow.
I remember.
So with just even the inkling that we're moving in that direction, and already the CDC talking about come this upcoming school year that they're going to yes, vaccinated or not vaccinated, everybody in hospitals, schools should wear masks. So pretty much just reaffirming, like you were like, well, it's a new school year, it's a new year. You're like, no, actually to start this year, we're reaffirming that it's going to be like this.
Yeah, gotta wear a mask, everybody. Yeah. I'm so excited for that.
And what really scares me is because you have all these people who've waited so long to come back. You got CM Punk, you got John Cena, you got Finn Balor. You got all these. And the reason SummerSlam is what it is because this is supposed to be like the return of wrestling. This is all these guys waited to come back for this. So you got to question if AEW is in front of no crowd. Let's say in 3 weeks for that Rampage. Is CM Punk still coming back?
No, he won't come back. Why the hell would you come? Why would you have such a momentous occasion? Be in front of nobody.
Oh, I mean, they've already done it, though. We had to see Matt Hardy debut in front of nobody. We had to see WrestleMania in front of him.
Hold on. Let me backtrack that. Don't compare Matt Hardy to CM Punk. Let's just get that out of the way.
No, I agree with you there.
If you're going to debut
that's why
anybody,
it is such a tricky thing right now because you're trying to plan all these Daniel Bryans and these CM Punks, and you waited. Don't tell me obviously Daniel Bryan was at WrestleMania, so he wasn't available, but you firmly waited for people to come back for a lot of these. John Cena is a clear. You waited for people to come back for John Cena.
And we were just talking about The Rock.
Yeah.
So what the hell's going to happen if The Rock is supposedly supposed to come back in Survivor Series and we're back to square one again?
Yes. That is the frightening thing. And to make it worse, I guess we'll end the show on this. To make it worse for those in England, if you didn't like all this news, and obviously now this might affect the WWE. I think they were going to England, if I'm not mistaken, in September or October. They were just planning that.
Yeah.
But worse than that, worse than WWE maybe not coming to your town, the Peacock Network's coming to Europe.
Wow.
So you in Europe get to get stuck with what we've been stuck with here in America.
Sorry to hear it. Sorry, UK fans. Just to give you a heads up, Peacock Network sucks.
Yes. So, unfortunately, if you got a VPN and you're going to try to, I guess you'll have to be a VPN out of Japan or something now, because it looks like the Peacock Network is going to try to come to Europe. And another thing, too, obviously, with all of this, there was rumors this week that WWE is trying to return end of October to Saudi Arabia, and that were the finals for the potential Queen of the Ring tournament would be.
Yeah, we talked about that last week.
To quickly talk about the Queen of the Ring tournament, and we've talked about this before, the Queen of the Ring, the King of the Ring, whatever it is, what makes it work is it being its own pay-per-view with all the matches being in one night. Yes, I understand there's some qualifiers, but with the main bulk of the tournament being one night and then the winner getting something, obviously, other than being king or queen of the ring. King of the Ring, you had the qualifiers, and then you had the final 8. Same with the Royal Rumble. You have Royal Rumble qualifiers, but the Royal Rumble match is one night. It's a pay-per-view, and it has something on the line. So Queen of the Ring, if you're telling me that it's just going to be matches screwing around Raw and SmackDown and other WWE shows, we're like on Raw this week, Charlotte versus, Nikki ASH, but this time it's a King of the Ring, Queen of the Ring qualifier or whatever. I'm not really going to be that interested. Obviously, they're planning the Queen of the Ring final to be in Saudi Arabia, but I think for this to work...
Who knows at this point?
For Queen of the Ring or King of the Ring to really work, you got to do it the right way. You got to make it a one-night only tournament where all the matches are on the pay-per-view. The final 8 are all, because that was part of the thing. It's like the Royal Rumble. It's the endurance. If you just get right to the final, that's just called a one-on-one match.
Yeah.
What made the King of the Ring cool is that it's Kurt Angle, Brock Lesnar, whoever it is, Bret Hart, Owen Hart, had to go through 3 people or 4 people in one night. It was like return. Yeah, it was like the gauntlet.
Yeah.
So if it's literally just like you get to fight this week on Raw and then you fight next week on Raw, and it's like those are just, to me, those just feel like Raw matches.
Yeah, no, yeah, they definitely feel like, and here's
and that's why it's not going to work. And that's why the King of the Ring hasn't worked outside of the pay-per-view format.
Let's be honest. Who knows if they can go to Saudi Arabia at that time? We don't know, because we at Heel to the Face obviously don't want to be shut down because we got to go to Rochester at some point.
Some point.
I mean, what do we at this point? Jared's gonna be 40 by the time we go to Rochester for an AEW show. And one last thing, we did talk about it before, off the air before we started recording. Brock Lesnar has signed a deal with a promotion that is not WWE, and it's not AEW. So
unofficially, we don't know if officially he's signed anything because a lot of people have also put CM Punk after hearing all that. Well, he's officially in AEW. Well, speculation. Strong sources.
Strong sources. I think he's going MMA. That's where I think Brock's next move is MMA. WWE wanted him back, but he signed a deal reportedly with another organization that is not AEW. I assume it's not Ring of Honor or Impact.
What we know most about Brock is Brock does what Brock wants.
Yeah, with his haircut and everything and the cowboy hat. I mean, Brock's living his best life, so good for Brock.
So for Brandon, myself, Jared, what will next week bring us? I guess we'll have to wait till then. But another edition of the Heel to Face podcast is in the books. Thank you for joining us, and we will talk to you guys next week.